Hey team, welcome back to the Recruitment Edge podcast with your host, me, S. Khan. And thank you, first of all, for everyone who's been listening to the last few episodes and sharing and commenting and liking. Please continue to do so and feel free to flick these episode links to any friends, colleagues that you think it might be relevant to. Alrighty, Tim, coming at you today from my hotel room in Sydney. It's 6 a.m. in the morning, so bear with me. I'm very buzzed, just had a very large coffee. And what I am chatting through today is a topic that I've been doing a lot of training on over the last few months with agencies. And it's all around BD habits that separate top billers and consistent performers from everyone else. Now, I've worked with, over 3,000 recruiters at this stage in some form of training capacity. And what I would say is common and has been over the last few years, regardless of what the market's done. But one common theme that comes up again and again is recruiters typically, I would say, know what to do from a BD perspective, but they really struggle to do it a lot of the time. And quite often I will see recruiters who are very capable on the BD front. They know how to do BD, but there's a blocker and they end up focusing on everything other than BD. And that's why I guess I wanted to cover off today what I see as the differences between those that consistently perform at a high level and those that don't. Rarely do I see it's a huge change in skill level. It's kind of everything else, and that's what I wanted to touch on today. The first thing that separates these two types of recruiters, in my experience, is structure. So, the person or recruiter who consistently performs, the thing that they are doing and have got is planning and structure. The person that is billing consistently is not scrambling week to week going, shit, who do I call? What's my next touch points? What do I do now? Let me pull another list. Let me do more research. They're getting into their weeks going, great, I know what to do. I need to follow up with these people because I called them 2 weeks ago. They didn't answer. I sent an email. Now it's my follow-up time. And I'll stop calling new people at this stage and move it along. They're aware that things take a bit of time and that it is going to take a number of touch points before a client converts. And that's why that structure is so important and these people consistently perform because they're not one and done. Whereas the others that aren't consistently performing, it's sporadic business development. And sporadic business development very rarely works and relies on volume. And we know most people can't do the volume. And so I would say structure and planning is absolutely fundamental to your success in business development. And that is what the consistent performers are doing. So that's number one. Number two, and most people won't like this because it seems to be a bit of a taboo, but it is, the consistent performer has got KPIs. I know most people hate talking about KPIs. It feels like a yucky word in agencies and has done for a number of years. But as a salesperson, I cannot stress this enough. You absolutely need KPIs. You need to know what your targets are so that you can track along them. If you don't have them, everything falls over because then your activity is sporadic, and sporadic activity does not lead to consistent performance. So KPIs are an absolute must. If your agency has not set these with you, please set them yourself. And in terms of setting effective KPIs, don't just copy someone else's. These should be fairly individual to you. So I would be tracking back from the outcome that you want. So if you're wanting to bill, let's say 200k for the quarter, work backwards. What are you going to need to do realistically to hit that number? Use past performance as your benchmark. So let's go, I'm in a bill, let's say 100k for the quarter. I'd have a look, what is my average fee for the last year? It's 20k. Cool, now I know I need to fill 5 roles to make my 100k. That's step 1. So 5 roles filled will get me to 100. Well, what has history told me in terms of my fill rate? I might look back over the last 12 months and go, well, actually, I only fill 20% of the roles that I actually win. So for me to fill 5 roles, well, I need to times that by 5. So I'm going to need 25 roles on for me to fill 5 at the 20k mark. That will get me to 100. So great, that's the next step. I need 25 roles on. How do I get 25 roles on? Well, does every business development call result in a job on? Well, absolutely not. So how many calls do I need to make to win a job typically? Or how many client meetings do I typically have to win one job? And all of a sudden, based on actually what's happened on your desk and how you operate and what history has told you, you should now have relevant KPIs to track along. So that's the second thing that I would say. And the last one and the biggest difference between the consistent performer and the sporadic or average one, honestly, guys, it seems so simple, but the consistent performer, where possible, is on the phone. And I know you'll be sick of hearing this, but it is true, team. Influence doesn't live in emails. It doesn't live in LinkedIn messages. It doesn't live in you sending shortlists for your roles via email. It lives in you picking up the phone and being comfortable and confident to have a conversation with another human being. And so the consistent performer is constantly looking at, is this an email or should I just pick up the phone? And what's going to be better for me and my long-term viability for this desk and performance? It's always going to be phone, because our job is so reliant on us building influence with another human being, whether that's a client or a candidate, and the consistent performer knows that. And so they're constantly going, well, the call's going to be better because I build a stronger relationship with a person. I'm able to influence. I'm able to handle any pushbacks they have. And so the consistent performer is constantly on the phone. If I was going to pick one of these, team, of how I would assess, without knowing 2 people, if I walk into an office, within the space of 2 hours, I can tell you without looking at anyone's performance outputs, i.e. the dollars and what they've billed, which consultant performs at a more consistent and high level based on that last point that I've just raised. Because within 2 hours, what I will typically see is a whole bunch of consultants tapping away on their computers. And in 2 hours, no conversation's been had. And then I'll see 1 or 2 people in the room on the phones. And it's not doing yucky, cold BD, but they're on their phones talking, engaging with customers, with candidates, with existing job order brief clients, with new clients, they're following up on content clicks, but they're generating conversations. And those would be the 2 main differences, or 3 main differences that I've talked about in terms of the variance between those 2. I hope this has been helpful, team. Business development is a very hot topic at the moment, but honestly, it's one of the skills that I am seeing really dying off. And I'm so passionate about people actually doing good business development again and removing the fear from it, because it should be an enjoyable part of your role, because it is such a large part of a recruiter's role. If you need anything from me or want to run anything by me, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help and talk to anyone that is wanting to improve their desk or their business. But for anyone that's also interested, next week we are running a few free webinars for agency leaders. So please have a look. We'll pop the link in the bio of this episode. And for anyone that's interested in any structured business development training, of course, you can reach out to me too. Have beautiful weeks, and we will see you next Friday.